Hey guys, Paul from Montana. I just made a mistake trying to pull the gimbal bearing out of this Alpha 1 Gen 2 outdrive. I'm new to this, I've never done it before, so I made a mistake and I'm gonna show you what it is so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Maybe I didn't watch the directions close enough on how to use this bearing puller. That's probably the reality of this, but I'm gonna throw it out on YouTube as real life novice guy in the shop drinking beer experience. Here it is. So you can kind of see that this bearing, maybe you can see that the center is no longer on the same plane as the shell or the outer ring, which means the core's been bent because I was reefing on this thing so hard. That's not good. You don't want to get a bearing stuck in there when you're trying to pull it out. You don't want to get it, you know, cattywampus. That's a little scary. So I pulled the bearing puller out of there and I put the bearing puller back in, and I added these nuts and a stack of washers on here. So I got the bearing puller, you know, pretty tight in there, so it's just starting to pull, and made sure this was seated perfectly on the flat plate of the puller. And then I tightened these nuts down on it, so that way this thing would stay a little bit more where it needs to be. Additionally, I shoved this hammer handle, the rubber handle, up underneath here, you know, to kind of support it. Because initially I was doing it with any of that stuff there, and this was going down, you know, down away from the bearing. It was trying to pull it crooked out of there, which is bad news. So a combination of two things, putting these nuts on here and putting that rubber handle down in here so it didn't damage the casting, kept this thing straight up and down, and the bearing came out. It was stubborn though. Holy smokes, I was on it, and I've got a pretty big crescent wrench, so maybe this one's worse than most. I don't know. Anyhow, I hope this advice helps keep you out of trouble. All right, thanks for watching.